would you keep faith with the back line that beat Fulham, or would you change it? Well, 2 questions. What do you think Moyes is going to do, and what would you do? Told you I'd put you on the spot, didn't I?
I'm fascinated to see how he sets up. He pulled Timo Robenham out of absolutely nowhere for me for the Fulham game. Yeah. I did not see that one coming. I think even though we could all see a pathway whereby Garner may well have moved over to right back, for me it would always have been Roll that I'd have been expecting to kind of come into the middle. So we pulled a Robenham out of nowhere, and the Robenham, I mean, he did well in the final minutes against Sunderland, but he did well in that game. Like fair play. For the hour, he got a little bit leggy on the hour mark, picked up the yellow card, but he'd done a lot of running and done a lot of it effectively, so fair enough. So I don't know if he sticks with that or not, because I still think that Everton are much stronger with Garner in centre midfield. But then,
we know where your team selection's going then.
Well, I mean, but this is it. I mean, we called on Moyes to be a little bit more adventurous with his squad, and he was. I'm trying to work out what you do, because there are still big questions on it. I think the big questions of the next, what are we on now? November the 20th. So we've basically got a month now until Idrissa Gueye and Iliman Ndiaye likely depart. I can't see any reason why Everton wouldn't be in the Senegal squad for the Africa Cup of Nations. So we've got a month there to try and figure out what to do, and you have to start integrating people before then. I don't think you can necessarily go all the way up to Arsenal. If that's the last game they're available for, maybe they need to join their squads earlier than that. I'm not sure. But say, for instance, Arsenal was the last game that you can't go all the way up to there and then Burnley start bringing in Dibbling and Roll for the first time properly. So for the next few weeks, Moyes has the ability to use all of them and kind of have that gentle integration, doesn't he? So, but I'd be really interested to see what he does, certainly with Merlin Roll, because he speaks so highly of Merlin Roll from what he sees behind the scenes, but then to not kind of start him ahead of a Robin. I mean, maybe reading too much into that. Roll didn't train for the full week in that week before the Fulham game. So it may be that he had a little niggle that just prevented them from wanting to take the risk to start him. Obviously did come on with half an hour to go, so they had faith in his body to last that long. But I do think that probably the best Everton 11, all things considered, ends up with, I think Roll probably ends up in there. I think if you assume that he's integrated and he's fully fit, and you've got all of those players ready to go for you. What do you think? Would you have Roll in there? That kind
I think
of...
it comes back to James Garner, doesn't it? And where Moyes sees him fitting in at this moment in time.
Because you can put Garner on the right, at right back, and get the benefits you do from that if you've got Roll in the middle to go alongside Gueye, haven't you? I think
I've just got so many questions on whether James Garner is a better midfielder than he is a right back, or a better right back than he is a midfielder. And I mentioned this on the pod last time. I don't think it's any coincidence that Idrissa Gueye had one of his best games in a good couple of weeks with the absence of James Garner in midfield.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought.
I do think there's a real, in that two-man, duet, pivot, whatever you want to call it. I do think they're kind of stuck in what roles are they doing the same thing, because they're actually both getting forward a little bit. I mean, James Garner is always looking to have a shot off, on the edge of the area. Just again, he's scored, 1 or 2 goals, hasn't he? Yeah. So I think, do we need just to basically say, well, one of them is the holder and sit there?
Yeah, I think that Garner does better in midfield in a free, and I kind of think that, I wonder if, we know that Moyes likes Dewsbury Hall a lot, and Dewsbury Hall had his best game in an Everton shirt against Fulham as well. I do kind of, Garner, you'd have Garner and Gueye, and then the third one, depending on what you wanted from them, maybe being Dewsbury Hall sitting deeper than he traditionally has, or Merlin Roll as an 8, or who'll crash into the box with you using his physicality. Kind of wondered that's the dynamic that Everton will eventually move towards, but I don't know. I like that. He surprised me with his lineup against Fulham, and it'll be interesting to see what he does going forward.
I think this is the way I'm going to look at it. I'm going to try and look at it quite logically. So the Blues have said, with regards to James Garner, he's a better right back.
Yeah.
And I do actually agree with that. The problem that James Garner has got at this moment in time in the players that he's got around him, who is a better number 6, James Garner or Idrissa Gana Gueye? For me, regardless of age and longevity, it's Idrissa Gana Gueye.
Yeah, well, not.
But then
Gueye isn't really a 6, though, is he?
Well, in terms of the whole midfielder, then someone who's going to sit and do the blocks and put in the tackles, and then you've got the 8 or whatever that player who'll play a little bit further forward, probably behind the number 10. You're saying Roll fits into that, or should fit into that base, and I agree.
I think Roll and Dewsbury Hall kind of depended on the game. I mean, it's a luxury to have the potential to have, but to interchange the two of them, isn't it?
So where does it leave James Garner in midfield then? I'm not saying he's not. This sounds like I'm being critical of him, and I'm not. I'm just thinking in terms of doing specific jobs in that midfield.
I think Garner's looked quite good as a 6 when he's played there and told to sit back. I think in pre-season he did quite well in some of the games this season he has as well. I think if you have him as a deeper lying one, and then you have Gueye a little bit further forward, and then either a Dewsbury Hall or a Roll alongside them, but. What do I think? I think a lot of it probably depends on where Roll is with his fitness and whether or not you could bring him into the midfield equation a little bit. Because I'd feel more comfortable. And Robin had a good game against Fulham, and I think he may well be turning into a relatively useful squad player. He was he looked good at the end of the Sunderland game when the game got frantic and it got end to end. He's kind of perfect for those occasions.
Yeah.
He covers ground so well. Yeah. He's really good at kind of putting in a last-ditch tackle, if a midfield is breaking through or something like that. He can carry the ball quite well as well. But I think that if you're going away somewhere like Man United, I'm still not sure that... I mean, this is me saying this. I haven't seen an awful lot of Merlin Roll. So, I mean, I'm working on assumptions that he has got the talent that people keep telling me about and saying he's got as opposed to anything else. But I think that I would probably revert to type and go O'Brien at right back and move Garner into the centre midfield, or, away from home against a team of that talent.
Is that just on the assumption, or I'm not saying you're assuming it, this is me saying it, that the people who I've spoke to with regards to whether they change or not, is that just because you think we'd be bringing O'Brien back into the team over Garner and putting Garner back in midfield, we'd just be a bit more defensively solid?
I think they'd just be a little bit more solid, yeah. I think a little bit more defensively solid. And Fulham, again, a side that used to come into Everton and winning, but a side that also had a difficult start to the season. You can be a bit more ambitious, I think, against Fulham at home than you can Man United away, or this version.
I do get that argument. I do get it.
And I think that in so many of those games that we've talked about where Everton have made a good start, they've made a good start even though they had those obvious limitations in centre midfield and at fullback. So they are still capable of doing that. I certainly think that if Everton were to get an early goal, then that's the kind of the back 6 that you'd want to then be defending the lead.
Okay, yeah.
O'Brien at right back, McGowan at left back, and Garner in the middle. That's certainly the strongest option available to Moyes currently to defend something. But yeah, so I think that's what I'd do, and I'd start Tierno Barry up front because I think that does put an awful lot of reliance on Ndiaye and Grealish, and hopefully Dewsbury Hall, so he starts in the middle to be able to cause attacking problems alongside Barry, without the support from fullback. But I do think they could probably do that, and I do think this is the type of game as well that Man United might go into a little bit naive and might leave themselves a little bit exposed. And those are clever players that can punish teams. Maybe they will. What would you do?
I would stick with Garner. I did say I just think in terms of balance, and Garner got caught out a little bit against Fulham, but every left back, every right back's going to get caught out. Jake O'Brien's had a tough time over the past couple of weeks against pacey wingers. It's going to be a tough game. No matter what right back we pick, we could get beat. So it's just about finding that consistency, really, and finding that what can we do with the players that we've got, and where are the players best suited to make an impact. And at this moment in time, I do think James Garner is better could make more of an impact as a right back. And I think that did prove that against Fulham.